Hey, folks, welcome back to the Geekery. I know it's a bit out of schedule, but it's my show, and I can do whatever I want. So, joining me this week is Vanilla Soup from the Super Gaming channel on YouTube, and we're going to talk about some geeky shit. So, we're going to get started because I know this one is big on his mind right now, and it's kind of big on a lot of my friends' mind. I didn't get too much into it myself, but this isn't all about me. So, Destiny 2 is coming out here pretty soon. And for those that don't know what Destiny is, it's what Bungie went on to do after they sold Halo off to 343 and Microsoft. So it's a very damn good game. A lot of people love it. I try to get into it. But I'm not meant for MMOs, so it's
an acquired taste.
Well, I try to solo everything. I soloed Borderlands 1 and 2, and so I'm like going into like playing MMOs, like it's hard because you really need other people to live.
Oh yeah.
And so
lots of grinding and not the kind you get at high school dance.
No, and so the Destiny 2 is coming out on multiple systems, but it's also coming out on PC this time, which is pretty goddamn rad to tell you the truth, because mouse controls for aiming and WASD for walking around and stuff, I'm there. And especially if you've got a decent, powerful computer and you can get 60 frames plus per second and beautiful like 4K, it's amazing. So
yeah, that's my rig that I'm running. It's geared to be able to run 4K at 60 frames a second.
Yeah,
it's a beast. I love it.
And so what's even better with the PC thing is that it's being backed by Activision and Blizzard. So it's going to be on Battle.net. So that's a serious plus.
My favorite game company. Yeah. That's a huge step.
I'll have to challenge you on a Hearthstone if you play that at all, because I love that game.
You will cream me. I suck at Hearthstone.
It just reminds me. It just reminds me of the Magic the Gathering days, but a lot simpler. Yep. And so that's what a lot of people like from it. So,
fun fact on some of the other segments, we were talking about how I served a LDS mission, but that was a big thing. Magic the Gathering as missionaries, we would like on our days off, we'd go all get together and play Magic the Gathering. I don't know why, but that was a huge thing we'd do.
I'm surprised they'd let you do that with all the occult symbols and stuff that's in there. Especially if you guys had someone that was playing a black deck. Come on now. Let's see. Injustice 2 came out this week, and I've got friends that are nerding out over it, of course, and I don't have time for it because I podcast and YouTube every day, every week, and I don't have time for games. So I'm going to get the iOS version because it has the same story. So, and that's really why I play games. And God, it's got to be better than it's got to be better than Contest of Champions, because that Marvel game bugs it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I'm waiting for next paycheck, but then I'm definitely picking up Injustice. I loved the first one, but honestly, I wish they would bring back the Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. That game was amazing. I loved that one.
I remember playing that when my kid was like a newborn, and I'm like, this is so cool. But at the same time, I'm like, this is terrible. Like,
it's like the kind of cringe where you're like, that worked. That's okay.
Well, and what I like about the new Injustice that's out is that it's the same company that does the Mortal Kombat series. So they've got that really kick-ass engine that they use right now for it, and it looks gorgeous. So, I mean, and it's your favorite DC heroes, and they've got tons of skins coming out for it. I'm not the kind of guy to get DLC for that kind of thing anymore, but for a lot of people, it is something that they are very interested in, and they're going to spend a lot of money on. So more power to them. I used to really, really enjoy fighting games. I just, like I say, I don't have time for any of this stuff anymore.
Those are a pretty time-consuming genre. Yeah, to get good at that, that's a lot of time and dedication.
Yeah, and let's see. We're going to slide into some comic book movie stuff here. So the embargo is still on with Wonder Woman, which comes out on June 3rd. So probably about a week or two after this comes out. But everybody that I know that has seen it has been giving social media reactions that have been super positive. So they can't say that they loved it, but they can say, I can't say that I loved it. they'll give you jokingly answers like that. And
I've heard a lot of people saying that this is the best DC cinematic universe movie that they've made yet.
Which is funny because I I'm a DC apologist, so
Oh yeah,
I love every DC movie that's come out so far. even
really?
even
Okay.
Suicide Squad. People hated Suicide Squad, and I'm like, I don't see any problem with it. It was fun.
The soundtrack was good.
Oh man, the soundtrack really was good. But I mean, this really does bode well for the DC world out there, and it's just there's just so many people that have been preemptively hating on it before it's even come
Oh
out
yeah.
because they love it or hate it. There are people that are just ready to just troll DC fans and stuff just because they are Marvel fans, and it's like, no, I don't understand the whole tribes thing. Like, if you like it, you can like it. If you don't like it,
What's,
don't be a
what's
dick.
funny is that that's like a complete opposite of what it was maybe like 10 years ago. I remember growing up. It was weird, like among my friends that were nerds. It was weird that I liked Spider-Man. It was weird that I liked Captain America, Superman, and Batman. That's where it's at. But now it's like, if you're not a Marvel fan, you're garbage.
So
But
wrong.
I
So
I, I
wrong.
love I love a lot of DC movies. I grew up watching a lot of the DC universe, animated universe. Loved Justice League cartoon. I actually own every single animated film Warner Brothers has put out.
Because
Or
they're amazing.
they're horrific. Yeah, they're fantastic films. And so like I go into it with the hopes every time, like, I hope this movie is awesome. I hope this movie is awesome. And Batman vs Superman did it for me. Batman vs Superman was pretty good. I
Did you
understand people giving a hate for it, but
did you
I don't
ever
agree with it.
did you ever catch the director's cut, the uncut one that had like an extra 30
Yeah,
minutes in it?
yeah.
Didn't
I don't
that
know why that theatrical
didn't that
release
completely change the entire movie? You know?
fixed everything.
Well, it's like you wondered how like Lois went to his apartment, the guy's apartment, and like it fleshed out the whole Lois Lane story, so it made a lot more sense. You're like, oh, and it also fleshed out a lot more of the Lex Luthor stuff, so you're not like just lost. Like, why is he so damn weird? It's like, why does he act this way? What the hell is this supposed to mean?
What kind of rock were you dropped on as a kid?
Did they drop you on the head as a kid? And you're like, how'd they drop me on my own head? Oh. So yeah, I'm excited for DC, and like I've got a lot of friends on the Geek Show, and they say that where Marvel is lacking, DC picks up, and vice versa. So right now, DC is getting their asses handed to them in the movies. I admit that fully. I mean, but you do have the three most iconic people in comic book world is not like Marvel people. I mean, sure, they're very famous, but like Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman are like three
Oh
of
yeah,
the easiest spot across the
the
globe kind
Trinity
of.
of the DC
Yeah,
universe. Yeah,
exactly.
like,
And so
that's
I'm not shitting on Marvel fans. I'm a Marvel fan as well. I love every one of the movies that it's come out so far, and I love a lot of the comic books. I've got a bunch of them on a shelf over here, but it's like for me, DC was where it was when I was a kid.
mm,
And I've tried watching some of the Marvel animated stuff, and about the only one that I've seen that I really liked was what was it was there was the not Civil War, it was World War Hulk.
oh, such a good film. That one was
Oh no,
terrific.
I'm thinking of Planet Hulk. Sorry, Planet Hulk
Yeah,
is the one where
the planet. Yeah, where the new Thor Ragnarok's pretty much gonna
yeah,
take
it's
place.
taking the whole thing from there.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay, I've already seen this movie.
yeah,
And there was another one where the Hulk versus, which was really good too, where it was like three different stories.
yeah.
And so
Yep.
there was one
Well,
where it was
I like
like,
Hulk versus Wolverine a lot.
yeah, there was the Hulk versus Wolverine, and then there was one where like Deadpool and somebody else was going against Hulk as well. It was really fun to watch. I mean, that I like.
For the Hulk in the cartoon, it's gonna be at least okay.
It's gonna be so spicy, you know. No, it's usually pretty good, but I mean,
uh,
they lack a lot of the times. Like a lot of the Marvel like cartoons, I couldn't grow up watching. I mean, I was already an older guy when I was watching these cartoons, but like except for X-Men. X-Men came out like when I was in my teens, and so that was a rite of passage for me growing up. But like you had shows that came out later, like Spider-Man, didn't care so much for it at all. A lot of people apparently did. I didn't care. There was an Iron Man animated show. Never watched an episode of it.
yeah.
It's probably mainly because I was too old at the time. But I mean, because I wasn't
Well,
watching Fox Kids, I wasn't,
they really hit their stride with X Men and the Spider Man show, in my opinion.
yeah.
Other than that, there hasn't been anything I care to watch. Like
Except there was a God, what was the kids show where it had the mighty what's it called? I can't remember what it was. It was the kids like Marvel series where they were bringing in like obscure as hell people to be in the show, and I was like, holy crap, they're indoctrinating kids early, because like MODOK was one of the villains, and I'm like, my God, like this was
Are you talking about the Spectacular Spider-Man?
no, it was a kids show. It was like Marvel Defenders, or no, I can't remember what it was called.
Oh yeah, I never watched that one.
Let's see, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I know
Google
what
it
you're
while we're
talking
on the show. Let's see, Marvel, let's see, Marvel kids show. What the hell was it called? It's killing me because I can't remember what it was. It's Superhero Squad. I think that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Where,
the Superhero
like,
Squad
they made
show.
this, like,
Yeah,
really cute, tiny.
yeah, they're like
characters.
super deformed, but like some of the jokes in there are still dirty as shit.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I never watched that one.
I was watching it with my kid, and like they even went as far as like introducing Blade and like
Really?
all of the
Oh.
Avengers, including some of like the B and C list Avengers, making on there. It's like, holy
Jeez.
crap, this is really obscure characters that I can't believe they're involving them. But my kids liked that for a little bit, so it was kind of fun. Let's see. The last little bit of news that I've got here is let me ask you, you ever watched the movie called The Dark Crystal?
Yes, love the film.
And
Good
so
film.
that was like Jim Henson's like project of passion that he did. Like that's the one where he banked up all of the stuff that he could in order to have this movie made. And it was a really good movie. It's nightmare fuel for me as a child, because I remember my parents let me watch it, and just when they're starting to drain the essence from like the poor little folk in the Skeksis are draining the life energy from people using the dark crystal, and I was like, scared the shit out of me as a kid. Well, apparently they've been given the green light, the Henson Company, to make a Dark Crystal prequel series on Netflix.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
That'd
they
be
came out this week.
good
They're going to
format.
be making a 10-episode prequel, and I'm
Oh, so just like a little. Okay, I like that. I like
yeah,
that a lot.
and I think that's I like movies, but at the same time, I am really enjoying the long form storytelling that we're getting from a lot of properties these days. I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't do the Daredevil. Like Daredevil didn't work as a movie because you're trying to tell too much at one time. But when you made it into a TV series, it made a hell of a lot more sense. And
Yeah.
you're getting that way with a lot of the other Marvel properties as well. I mean, I don't watch Agents of Shield because I don't TV as much as I used to. But like you have to branch off here, you have a show like American Gods that's on right now on Stars. Would not work as a movie at all. I don't think you could get it to work as a movie. But now that they're doing it as like a long form storytelling kind of thing, it's actually working pretty well, and
Yeah.
you've got a lot of these books that don't work as like a one solid project, but if you break it up into like 10 or 12 or even like 20 stuff, you can make a lot more sense with it. Like Game of Thrones would not have worked as a movie, like ever.
Oh. Yeah.
But
Too much going on.
let's go ahead and divide it into I don't know, 80 episodes, like yeah, you could tell 5 books in that time. So I'm really excited to see what
That's a hefty series.
Yeah, I never read the books, thankfully, because
I tried. 14-year-old me had a friend that
that's
read
a
them. He's
hefty
like, yeah.
bookload to read at 14, dude.
Well, and the thing is, going through puberty, my friend was like, "There's sex in it," and I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot."
Sure, why not?
But I couldn't make it very far. I was pretty bored.
Yeah, that's just about George R.R. Martin for you. I mean, there's a lot of people that probably crucified me for that, but I don't like fantasy books. I never have. I can't
Really?
read
Wow,
them.
okay.
No, because you get into apostrophe names, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. Like the first time, like someone comes up, I'm Ragathuk. I'm like, okay, fuck you. You have way too many consonants together. You need a vowel. I'm done. I'm not reading this anymore. Can't do it. And it's not like hatred or anything like that. Like I've read most of the Dark Tower series. I don't view that as fantasy, but it is. It's like I get along with it. I read like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit when I was a kid because that's J.R.R. Tolkien. You have to read it, But then again, I guess I might be breaking my own rules because I've read all of the Dune books, and those are far futuristic sci-fi. That has nothing to do with fantasy. No, it's not fantasy at all. I don't know. My argument holds no water. I don't know what it is. I like the Conan books. I like the what the hell's his name? The Frank Franzetta artwork that came from those. Just whatever, X. You don't know what you're talking about. You need to shut up.
Frank Rosetta, a good artist.
Great artist. Amazing.
Yeah.
I think he had a movie that came out.
Not Christopher Nolan. Zack Snyder, like he claims a lot of what he likes to do straight from his artwork.
I'd agree, because Zack Snyder's best work was when he adapted, not just like, I mean, people shit on Zack Snyder for, ruining DC, and it's not his fault. He if you give him a piece of work and make him make that movie, it turns out really nice. And there's a lot of people that had problems with Watchmen. I thought it was amazing.
I love that movie.
I love, especially like the 4.5 hour extended version that has the Tales of the Black Freighter in it and everything. Perfect fucking movie. Perfect adaptation of a comic book.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, they had to change around the whole psychic squid into something else at the very end, but they had to change a couple things around here and there, because you're talking about a comic book that was written in like the early 80s, so
yeah, very different time.
Very different time. And when you have let's see, what else was I going to say? So he did the adaptation of 300.
Yeah.
And Frank Miller, amazing art. Okay, I should say he was an amazing artist. He's gotten really weird in his late days. But when he did 300, great fucking comic book, great adaptation by Zack Snyder. Same thing with Sin City. As long as you give him a piece of work and then you say, make this into a movie, he'll do that for you. But when you give him like, okay, we want you to do this, and you can have, artistic license with it, that's where you have a problem. It's like, no. You got to give him an end goal. You can't have him.
The less control he has, the worse his movies tend to do.
Exactly.
Because he's a very visual storyteller.
Yeah.
And when movies like Batman vs Superman have a lot of dialogue on it suffers. I mean, even though we just talked about how we both like that movie, not as good as some of his other work. Personally, I love Man of Steel way more than Batman vs Superman.
You're one of the few, because a lot of people hated that movie. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? That's a good flick.
Yeah, my background in film is obviously animation with my game design passion, but I studied animation. I've done some collaboration with some folks that work at Pixar, and so being able to look at films from a visual perspective is much more of what I like to do, rather than watch Downton Abbey and listen to people talk all the time.
So what was I going to say? Man of Steel. A lot of people had problems with the ending of that one, and I don't mean to rehash stuff that's already been buried for years and years and years, but you don't understand. Zod was about to kill somebody, and he wasn't going to stop.
Yeah.
He had to do it.
Well, and a bunch of the naysayers would say oh, he would never do that. I'm like, really? I can point you to A, B, and C in the comics where he did.
Yeah. So, that's the exact same problem I have with people shitting on how Batman killed all those people in Batman versus Superman. Like, Batman would never kill anybody. Like, really? I've got multiple books where he's killed people.
His best animated film of all time, he kills people. The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
Geez, that the whole story arc is about him killing people and the repercussions of that.
And it's like the people just want to have these stylized versions of these superheroes, not realizing that there's 80 years of canon behind them. It's like,
yeah,
like they've been around for a long time. I'm sure they had to kill somebody at some point. So anyway, anything been geeking on for you? Anything you want to talk about real quick before we call it quits on the Geekery for this week?
I will always advocate for this game. If you guys aren't a fan of Overwatch, I just want to put a plug into that. You need to play that game. It's going to be free next weekend, so
hell yeah,
hop on the train.
My kids like the free weekends because my oldest loves to play as Tracer. So
she's fun. She's a lot of fun.
And I don't know the name of the lady that's the heavy. I can't remember what her name is, but she has like the rocket launcher. Yeah, there you go.
The rocket launcher is Farah.
Pharaoh, there you go. Pharaoh.
Yeah,
That's who I main when it's free weekend. So
yeah, fun. Yeah, so you guys should check that game out for sure. It's also its year anniversary next week, so it's
if
pretty good game.
you haven't played in a while, you might get some free drops. So
yeah, it's true. I think every event they tend to at least give you one free loot box. So
yep. So go check that out.
And
Overwatch is cool.
If you choose to buy it after the free weekend, all your stats and stuff will carry over. So.
And I remember watching your video where you were talking that it might be making its way onto the Nintendo Switch, and boy, do I hope it does. I hope it does.
Yeah, you should check that out if you get a chance, viewers at home. I've made a couple of videos about it now, but there's some signs that it might be likely, not anytime soon, but maybe in the future.
Well, I mean, if you can get it to run on an NVIDIA Shield, you should be able to get it to run on Switch. You know?
Amen.
Yeah.
Galaxy.